Hey everyone, this one's going to be a fun one as we talk about some of the signposting and how to pique curiosity through that of Elden Ring's design. Hey everyone, I hope you're well, playing and making the games that you all love. You're joining me, your host, senior level designer, Max Pears. Absolute pleasure to be with you here. I hope that you and your loved ones are all safe and that you are playing and making the games that you all love. So this one is coming back to, well, I say coming back to, I've never talked about Elden Ring, but this one's going to be a focus on the topic of Elden Ring. I'm very late to the game. I won't lie, just for complete transparency, I'm not the biggest Souls-like player. It's just not necessarily for me. I really enjoyed Sekiro, Dark Souls 3. I did not like Bloodborne at all, and yeah, just to give some transparency, if you love these games, that's great. You know, this is not me going to be talking about, oh yes, I'm right, you're wrong. No, I think it's amazing if you find the great elements in them, and if you don't like them, hey, that's fine as well. In games, you know, it happens. We've all got different tastes in that.
But first, let's have a quick word from today's sponsor. Today's sponsor is none other than me. What I've done, everyone, and I hope you're excited for this, is I've actually created a level design kind of store. What I've done in this store is put up different kinds of tips and tricks that you can find there, whether that be my actual ebook itself, to that of level design pamphlets focused on different things such as traversal, stealth, breaking into the industry, as well as different talks that I have done which you cannot find anywhere else other than on this store. So if you are looking to improve on your level design skills and processes, then check out the Level Design Store, which will be down in the description below, where there'll be a link to find this. All you need to do is head over to gumroad.com/level design lobby. I hope you like what you see, and I look forward to hearing your thoughts. Thank you, and now back to the show.
But one of the things I want to talk about is that of the level design. Now, I'm only partway through Elden Ring. I'm also well aware that I am very much not skilled enough to complete these games unless I'm willing to throw hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of my life into this, which I just unfortunately cannot. And I wish I had a game that grasped me more to do that in many ways, but that's not what we're going to be talking about today. What I want to talk about is their level design and just a few things about it, which I thought were just fascinating in terms of signposting. Obviously, exploration is a key thing that I'm sure I'm not the first one to discuss and probably won't be the last either. But just giving my thoughts on this and then kind of also what's coming up and what's going to happen with the podcast as well soon this year. So yeah, that's what we're going to be talking about. Please tell me and share with me why you love these games or why you find them not necessarily for you. Like I said, keep it humble. No need to be horrid about anything. Opinions are just opinions. Doesn't mean they're right or wrong. And if you want to just leave a comment down below, if you're listening through YouTube, if you want to tell me your opinions, great, you can do so. Tweet me at Max Pears or email into the show leveldesignlobby@gmail.com. All of that is there for, you know, us to be able to talk about these things. So I'd love to hear, again, thoughts, opinions, and what you believe in with that. So without further ado, let's get right into the actual main topic. So let's talk about the open world design, right? Open world design is kind of ever-changing, but the main format has always, well, maybe not has always, but has very much been influenced by Ubisoft's level design in terms of open world, towers, then unlocking information, different events happening. We've had different plays in the formulas, obviously Witcher, we've then seen Horizon Zero Dawn, but the biggest change had to go over to Breath of the Wild when this first came out on Nintendo Switch. And these will have towers, but it didn't necessarily unlock icons. It did unlock different parts of the map, but you could also physically and visibly see other points of interest. And this one was how they kind of intrigued the player, right? By getting to the top of the tower, it gave you a much better vantage point. If you go through, and I think I've mentioned this already, there is a great talk. I can't remember where it was from. It was in Japan, though, where the developers talk about how their world is based on triangles. Their language of exploration is triangular versus that more rectangular in, say, the game that I worked on in Division, right? 'Cause more man-made compared to less organic shapes that Breath of the Wild's world is based in, right? And what really revolutionized that, as we talked about with not only just the icons, but was also that of intriguing players to go off and explore on their own by allowing players to go see things and tackle it whether they wanted to. If they didn't in any order, it very much gave the control of true exploration, right? So that's another element, talking about that of not only removing icons so it's less information, giving you visible vantage points, triangular design, but you can tackle this in any format, which way you want to, and even skipping. If you want to go straight to Ganon, you can do so at your own peril, or if you're an incredible player, beat him in your undies, right? So you could do a lot of really interesting things with that, compared to the more kind of handheld element of that of more Western open world design, especially say something like Far Cry, right? There were soft barriers that wouldn't be unlocked until you had to complete a certain main mission, right? And when I remember this happening when the Souls games started to come out, they really had a really fascinating and fresh approach with their worlds in terms of that of the challenge spike, right? If you could go explore where you wanted, but the only barrier was your skill level, right? So if you wandered off into an area that was run by very difficult monsters, well, then you go at your own peril. You would probably be advised best to leave, go grind, improve your skills, learn their movements, get better equipment, and then come back. But it was a deterrent, but not a hard barrier, right? Not a complete lock. And this made its way into open world games as well. With that, I mean, it influenced us on Division, where we had these, you could go into these sub-districts, but they had, when you crossing the line, it kind of told you which level this area was for. You could still go in, but you'd be aware that you were going to be very much at a disadvantage, right? And that was something that, again, even like I said, I think we can debate whether we believe the Souls games are open worlds or more linear. Like that's, I definitely think they still had some open world elements or hub world elements before Elden Ring, but you can see that their design still had an impact on the ever changing design of open worlds, even just on small elements, right?
At Level Design Lobby, we believe everybody has a story to tell. Hobbyist or student, freelancer or veteran, we made it our mission to unite those who share our passion for creating and developing great games. Thanks to our generous Patreon backers, we've been able to do just that. So if you've already pledged your support, thank you. If not, you too can ensure the future of Level Design Lobby, helping us to create even more exciting content, collaborations, interviews, and much more. With awesome perks and rewards, whether you're a seasoned professional or just getting started, you're sure to find something for you. Want to share tips, tricks, and advice with passionate, like-minded developers? Our awesome community Discord has you covered. Fancy practicing your level design, creating strong portfolio content, and having fun? Then try our level design weekends. Or perhaps you want to individually discuss your work, hone your skills, or level up your career? Then consider our one-on-one mentorships. If you share our vision, then go to patreon.com/Level Design Lobby for more information and to pledge your support. Thank you.
And now we have Elden Ring. And obviously, there is a lot of comparisons between that of Breath of the Wild and Elden Ring for the strange is the wrong word, for the same reason that you can go off at any point in any direction. You can go learn any area by different movesets, and you can go to the big glowing tree if you want to, or you can head off to other areas Their stories are, I think that's another thing that plays in their favor with that design. But their stories are very much, how do I say, not as really in your face, right? And what I mean by that is everyone talks in ye olde English, and it's very flowery, in my opinion, some of the language. And what I mean by flowery is it sounds quite interesting and piques your interest, but it doesn't say much, right? And I think that's, if anything, like we said, a benefit to the World of Exploration, because what does this mean? Almost that speaks in riddles in some of these dialogue sequences, and you obviously find more story in items description, as well as certain. I don't know if they're actually called collectibles, but you can find other items that help give you more lore to the overall world. And by this, they do something I think even better than what Breath of the Wild did. And Breath of the Wild, to me, honestly, is one of my top 5, I'd probably say, overall games. Beautiful, amazing, just so much. And what they did, I think, more interesting was the use of landmarks. Now, some of you may have seen my talk that I've given where I talk about mental mapping. And in that, we talk about landmarks, which is like a global landmark and a local landmark. Global is a landmark that can be seen from anywhere within the world, right? This is a primary focus, an overall objective. So in Elden Ring, it's the big golden tree that is just so present, we can see almost from anywhere in the actual world, wherever we're going, right? Because it's just, it's huge. I'd be amazed if you didn't notice it. And that is there, like I said, the goal, constantly something you are driving towards, right? And in the case of local landmarks, these can only be seen when you're in a certain area. A great example I gave of that is the work of Journey, right? Journey's global landmark is obviously the mountain. You're trying to get to the mountaintop. Really important part of the story. The local landmark would be something, say, like the graveyard you first visit when you're very early in the game, right? Like, you can't see that graveyard from everywhere. Now, obviously, in their level design, it actually sections off so you can't see, but you use local to help players memorize where they've been versus global, as we said, where they're going. And you can see so much of these techniques littered through it, right? Like many others as well, but that was the big thing for me, right? And everyone kept telling me before I picked up the game, I had friends telling me, oh yeah, there's always some sort of reward for exploring. There's always something that piques your interest. And it's true, right? From the ruins to enemy encampments, caves, catacombs, as well as swamps, all these things, right? There's a lot to it that really piques your interest and goes, oh, what's over here? This space looks different. Obviously, the nature of biome, is always an important one that kind of like blows you away in terms of diversity in exploration. And I thought it was fascinating how they did all of this, right? That you've got so much to see, even though a lot of the local landmarks are kind of very early on. Like I said, I need to go explore. I'm still only about an hour into my journey and still a lot, obviously, to do. And I know there is so many hours to go through. I don't even think I've tackled the first boss, to be honest with you. But even though some of their local landmarks seem very similar, especially they're all chunks of what almost looks like a coliseum in terms of their kind of semicircle appearance, as well as there's some like corner pieces of this as well. But just seeing these giant chunks from certain spaces really makes you go, oh, what's down here? And then how those spaces are used, there might be nothing on there. Maybe you can use them for a traversal path, or maybe there is actually enemy encampment on the top, or some sort of other enemies using this for, say, a nest or something. And I just loved this fact of how they play with, like I said, mentioned global and local landmarks, because these can be used in such a powerful way to, again, help you build not only mental maps, encourage exploration, but studying the spaces themselves, getting an understanding of lore, like we talked with these like chunks of buildings, what were these buildings for, these kind of questions, right? And I really was honestly blown away by all of this and just thought it was so intriguing as a world to go out and see all of this, right? I think there's a lot to obviously see more. Like I said, I'm only an hour and a half into this, so I'm not really an expert in the in the world of Elden Ring. God, I'm glad I don't do playthroughs because it would be embarrassing. But it's these elements, right, that kind of pique the interest, despite, you know, you being left alone, very little narrative other than being told that I'm a loser for being maidenless. There isn't much more going on, right? Like, if you die a couple more times, you meet different characters, and different spots will reveal different characters, etc., etc. But again, that is the reward for the exploration. I think that's the next part, right? Is when you go to these spaces, say, not everyone will have a reward, but there is some form of reward. And that reward might be combat. That reward might be meeting a new character. That reward might be that of camp. All of these are some form of reward. It can be that of a simple challenge, a narrative reward, all of that. But I think that really stimulates the need to explore. And especially when you think, and I know that, like I said, later on there is more diversity in terms of the biomes of the world. But when you compare it to Breath of the Wild, right? Think how colourful, almost joyful that world is, right? You want to go out in the sun, you want to go off and explore, feel the grass between your toes as you go out with perfectly blue skies. Elden Ring is not that, right? So it's almost very dark and almost is repulsive in terms of this grim world. And I don't mean repulsive in terms of how it looks, but I said in the lore, the feeling, the theme that they are chasing from you, chasing to deliver to you, these things. So I just want to share my initial thoughts. I think there's a lot of obviously other incredible stuff talking about Elden Ring out there. There's still a lot for me to go off and explore, but I just want to share these thoughts, and hopefully you can learn more about, I said, local global landmarks, rewarding what is counting as a reward, these things, right? And yeah, I really just want to share that. From my side with the podcast, I might slow down a bit on episodes for the next month or two. I just need a bit of a break, to be honest. I'm quite worn out. And just a lot of time obviously goes into this, to the incredible team that helped me out. Obviously, they're amazing. To the patrons, thank you, and every subscriber as well. Like, I really appreciate it. This will not be over or anything like that. There just may be small kind of sporadic breaks in between. Things like that, right? The other thing that I want to share is the fact that I am going to be working on a God of War level. I was supposed to do this last October, and I didn't find the time, and I didn't have also the passion for it, as well as kind of burnt out. But I really am feeling this drive to pick this up. I'm currently in the very early pre-production stage of it. I don't know if I'm going to share the pre-production, because I know some people don't find that entertaining. But I will be coming to hopefully live stream on the YouTube channel soon with this, once I kind of get my base and foundation sorted. I'm going to be jumping into Unreal 5, and just to helping me learn more about Unreal 5. Obviously, I use a bit of it for work and that, and there's still obviously more that I can learn and be better at. So I'm going to be sharing that. So if you do want to see that along for the journey, I don't know how often or when that's officially going to start. I'll probably do an announcement. But if you're not already, do subscribe to the YouTube channel so you can hear and be kept up to date with that, because that's where I'll be streaming. I don't have a Twitch anymore. I want to just keep it all in YouTube. And yeah, and I look forward to sharing that. So thank you all very much. Please do make sure to like, subscribe, all of that good stuff to the podcast. If you want to support the show, please head over to the patreon.com/level design lobby. And yeah, take care everyone. Speak to you all soon, and catch you next time.